Hey, you ever been to Chancellor Park? That's where I live. My name is Tavin Dillard, and I live in a trailer park called Chancellor Park, and I mow lawns. I'd like to introduce you to my town. I've been making YouTube videos since about 2006, and then I've transitioned over to other platforms like the TikToks and the whatnot. But here on this podcast, I'd like to clue you into what's going on with me here lately. And this is like the pre-introduction. Now I'm going to send it off to myself for the real introduction. I'm glad you joined me. Bink, bink.
Welcome to the Tavin Dillard Podcast, y'all guys. We into the third season of a podcast, which is like a radio show for your ears. And we in episode 6 of that season of the threes. My name is Tavin Dillard. I'm mow lawns. I live in Chancellor Park. How in the world are you doing? Boy, May is just chugging along. It's picking up speed. I mean, we at the tail end of it. I mean, we on a downhill slope of the month of May, the merry, merry month of May, you know, kind of like that way. I got some news. Now, if I got your number and you on my text message pal list, you know, if you texted me before and I texted you back 501-322-6249, you already know what I'm about to say because I texted my folks, my friendly text messaging friends yesterday on the Mondays to say, hey, I got some news. And I did post it on the Twiddlers, which is I'm going to be doing 5 live shows in July. Say that 5 times fast. 5 live shows in July. 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 So that's what I'm going to be doing in July. 5 live shows. And I ain't going to be everywhere, y'all guys. And that's just the truth of the matter. I'm going to be in Yukon, Oklahoma at Crave Barbecue. I don't have the time in front of me. Let me see if I can look. I think it's at 7 o'clock. It might be at 6 o'clock, though. And those are 2 very different times. Yukon, Oklahoma. 6:30. See, I was wrong. You would have been early on one of them times. You would have been late on one of them other times. It's right in the middle. And so what the shows are is, you know, me doing stand-up comedy, you know, telling my stories for 45 minutes or an hour or so. We're doing meet and greets after every show this summer in July. So anyways, that's July 7th. I'm in Yukon, Oklahoma. And then the next night, July 8th, I'm up north, getting closer to Kansas, but I'm still in Oklahoma in Newkirk. I think it's the K County Amphitheater, Newkirk, Oklahoma. And then on July 9th, which I believe that's a Saturday night, I'm doing 2 shows, supposed to be doing 2 shows. We're still nailing down the details of that this week, but in Conway, Arkansas. Now, that's where Rock City Outfitters is, and they're the ones that make my shirts. You might know about my new No Pro shirt. And we still trying to figure out the details on the Early Bird Gets the Perm shirt that was such a hit in my town. The drawing I did, now getting it on a shirt has been another thing. And folks have texted me about it to see the prototype and the color of green it's going to be on. Anyways, Rock City, they in Conway, and that's where I'm going to be. Not at their place. I'm going to be at an event venue there on the 9th for 2 shows, like a kind of afternoonish, 4 o'clock, 4:30 show. Let me look it up so I don't get it wrong. Oh, hold on. I'm getting there to my information. 4 o'clock. Looks like we're going to do a 4 o'clock show and a 7:30 p.m. show on Saturday, July 9th in Conway. So, I mean, we about over a month out from that. So, maybe you can make arrangements to get there if you want. And then the last one's up in northeast Arkansas. You know, you ain't super far from Tennessee and Missouri up there in Hardy, Arkansas. Well, Hardy may be 30 minutes from Missouri on Spring River there. And there's it's called the... I'm going to get the name wrong. Anyways, it's the Junction City Music Hall in Hardy or something, you know, like that. Anyways, that's a Wednesday night in the Hardy. And that's going to be a hoot. That venue there, I've been there before just to see. They got music there on Friday nights, a jamboree where locals come out and you play a little music and you hang out. And I like that. I'm excited about all these shows. And the one in Hardy, like I said, I've been to that venue before. It's going to be a hoot. So if you can make plans to come on out, July 7th, July 8th, July 9th, July 13th, and in Oklahoma, or Arkansas area, it's going to be a hoot. Like I said, I'm doing meet and greets after every show, so we can hang out and high five. I'm real good at high fives. Take pictures, whatever. I have some stuff there. I ain't going to have every shirt that I have, but I have some T-shirts, on the road with me, as they say, if folks are wanting to get into that. So more details soon, but I wanted to let y'all guys know as we get started that is something you can kind of pencil in this summer if you're looking for that. And if you just got events and you somebody that puts them together, and you want to say, hey, Tab, why don't you come over where we are, do a live show, just holler at me. You got the ways in the show notes to do that. Text message 501-322-6249, or my email address, tabandillard@gmail.com. So that's a hoot and a holler the way I see it. I'm excited to see y'all and to get doing some live shows here in a little while this summer. And I'll tell you, this podcast, we chugging right along with the episode 6 that we starting today. And I'm telling you, I couldn't be doing this the way I'm doing this without Bee House Honey. Tavin's Honey from Bees, they sponsored. That's how that go. You find people that you want to work with in this world of the podcast arena. I stepped out of lawn care for a little bit and head first slides into softball and into the podcast arena, since this last fall. And you got to find folks that you want to work with and that you like to work with and you like their products. That's how I like to work. I don't want to just partner up with anybody, because I tried that before years ago. Me and Myron Curtis decided to partner up on some sort of little business. It was more like a window washing thing. We was young, didn't know what we was doing, and it was not a good partnership. It was not, that ship sank is the way I see that. And I can't tell you how many windows broke between the two of us, and it wasn't just like, Myron was a bad call. It was a lot of things. I don't even want to talk about that. I'm about to dry heave thinking about it. But Bee House Honey, the Tavin's Honey from Bees, and I may have a special announcement pretty soon. Another honey announcement, a sweet announcement, but not yet. So in the meantime, please get you some. This time of year, heading into the hotter months, it's nice to cool down with a little fresh fruit and honey, or wherever you want to put. The hot butter dinner roll is still a good way to end the day, the way I see it. And so you can check the link in the show notes for Tavin's Honey from Bees. Thank you to Bee House. And, sometimes when I do this podcast, y'all guys, I may be wrong, but I think that I might rush through it like I got someplace to go. Now, I do need to go places and get some things done, that's for sure, but I got in the habit to like speeding sometimes, speed talking, like hightailing it through stories. Because, like on the interweb, specifically TikToks, I'm telling stories in like 60 seconds. And that's like, if you down at the Napa Auto Parts or, the donut store or Maggie's Flowers or the Burger Shed or somewhere in town, and you run into somebody, you ain't trying to squeeze your story into 60 seconds. Hey, you just there, and they just there, and you got to get through it, and you got to get the detail in there, because they got to know just exactly how it happened, so they understand, kind of thing. But like on the interwebs, it ain't like that. And then, that's the thing. See, because I started YouTubes in 2006, and I was telling what you would call like longer stories, 3 to 5 minutes. The whole point of this podcast, though, is what I'm saying, is to slow down and tell the story with like more detail. Like we ran into each other at the Burger Shed. How did it happen? All that kind of thing. But it's like a bungee cord over here, because now TikTok is almost like 20 seconds is what they want. So you're going 3 to 5 minutes, down to 60 seconds, down to 20, now up to, maybe a 20-minute podcast episode. Anyways, I'm just saying that it don't matter to me none, if it got to be longer or shorter kind of thing. It's kind of like lawn mowing. You can't attack every lawn the same way, especially if they got hedges, azalea bushes, trees, size of the lot, all that can, matters. Well, you can't approach these different platforms the same. For instance, in the amount of time it took me to say everything I just said, you would have scrolled 39 times on the TikTok or more. But on a podcast, that's what this is. It's like a radio show. You're willing to hang out a little longer. You in the car anyway. You got to drive, or you getting something done right now, something else, and just listening. Like maybe you walking, talking, working. Unless you ain't, then I just say take it easy, relax, and thanks for joining me here on the Tab and Dillard podcast. Can I say that there is a lot going on? Fine, I'll say it. There's a lot going on. Here's a little snapshot of my town over the next few weeks, which in turn is a snapshot of this podcast over the next few weeks. I mean, that's the easiest way to do it, the way I see it. I just meet you here on Tuesdays or whenever you listen and report back to y'all how it's going or how it went. So next week, spring picnic. I posted a video this week and I was like, hey, we got the spring picnic coming up this weekend. I was 2 weeks early. We do got it coming up, and I got so excited I jumped the gun a little bit, but it's coming up this weekend. I talked about this in last week's podcast. If you want to know more about how the spring picnic goes, you can go back and listen to episode 5 from this season, and we'll be waiting on you here. But then, now in 2 weeks from now, pretty excited about this. The local fishing tournament. I'm going to be fishing in it. Sure, I'm a no-pro fisherman, but that's what this is. It's a no-pro tournament. I bring the snacks. So there's a lot of excitement about that. And then in about 3 weeks, the next season of softball is starting. I ran down a new lineup in the last podcast. We got some new players that we ain't had before. You can hear all about that in episode 5 too. Where does that leave us now? Well, that's a good question. I'm so excited. I'm about to, I just got done talking about don't get ahead of yourself, Tabby. I'm about to somersault over my own words. I'm out of breath over here, y'all guys. Whew. Anyways, I'm telling you, you ain't going to believe it, but here's what happened. There was an accident this week, and I'm going to be serious with y'all, at the bait and tackle where Rance Farnhart works. And you wondering right now, you saying, Tab, everybody okay? What happened there? Did anybody get real hurt real bad? Kind of thing? Well, a couple things. I don't want you to be, shaking in your boots. Everybody's okay. Okay, everybody's okay. And just a little helpful tip for anybody out there who's going to deliver news to somebody that ain't the happiest news. You can't let it draw it out too long. Hey, I got some news. Well, what is it? What? Well, you need to sit down. Oh, what? Is everybody okay? And the person telling the story, they know everybody's okay. They know what happened is they got 2 big old bags of hot Cheetos at the store, and Ricky Don or somebody opened one of the bags, and then it spilled on the floor, and you thought, well, you could pick them up, but then you didn't realize on the floor was a puddle of Mountain Dew that got turned over earlier in the day, and half them bags of hot fries they boggy. They soggy, and they saggy in the baggy, and that kind of thing. It's like, if that's your story, if your whole story of your dilemma is that half a bag of hot Cheetos got in some Mountain Dew, and they wet and soggy and nasty, like, get to that quick. You don't have people sit down, and you don't tell them it's emergency. You just do the thing. So what I'm telling you right now is everybody's okay. But there was an accident out there, and we're gonna get right into it now. A couple things. Firstly, Rance is a friend of mine, and that bait and tackle out there, that's his livelihood. So when this happened, a lot of folks showed up to help. Because that's what you do when your friends need help. You show up and you help them. You just say, here I am. What do you need? And B, there's going to be a fishing tournament out at the lake, and his bait and tackle stands to do some serious business between selling bait, selling snacks, not to mention, but I will, that he has a restaurant out there. He sells fish and chips and some other items, and he gives haircuts out there. Y'all know that. So as a businessman, he's staring front ways into what we call a real opportunity. Well, so what happened, you asked, Tavin? What happened with the bait and tackle shop? Is he going to be able to do business out there? What happened? Tell me about that bait and tackle, Tavin. Tell me about that bait and tackle. Tavin, what about that bait and tackle? Well, Chet Dilroy lives outside of town on a pretty big piece of property. I ain't got to tell you that. His property backs up to Rusty Tidwell's property. They got a creek to divide that property. Well, Chet's sister-in-law, Delandra, her and Chet's wife, Gracie, they run Early Bird Gets the Perm. That's been all to do this spring with the new grand reopen or whatever, the ribbon cutting kind of thing, because they redid that. They got a new logo, which I drawed. Not a big deal, but I did draw it. And anyhow, Delandra has about no sense when it comes to anything with a motor. And I ain't kidding you. By no sense, I don't mean she don't know how to fix things. She don't. But what I do mean is she get on a moped, dirt bike, car, ATV, and she acts like she's in a video game. She just gunning that thing, riding all over the place. You may or may not remember, but Delandra is the one who gunned a 2-stroke Yamaha moped across Chet's property toward that creek one time, and there wasn't no ramp or nothing, but I guess she thought she could ramp that creek. Well, she could not. First things first, you need some upper arm strength to lift the front of that bike up so it don't end up in the bottom of that creek, because gravity is going to take over. That's just how that works. So Delandra's heading toward that creek. She gun it. Well, she pulled her head back because her arms wasn't going to do nothing. So you know how you just kind of yank your head back when you're going to ramp something? So you know, she doing that. And they look like they're going to get the job done because of that head pull. And she pulled her head back like, oh, I'm lifting this moped up as I fly over that creek. Well, that did not happen. Did not happen. The front of that thing dropped like a newborn fawn on a frozen pond, and the front of that tire hit that thing, went to the other side of the creek bed. Momentum took Delandra over them handlebars, head over here as Mary Lou Retton, you know, like somersault, stood up and right back down on the other side of that creek, like her legs was wobbly after she got thrown off that thing. And she's okay, but getting that moped out of the creek, it was a different story. So this is who we talking about. And now you're like, Tabin, what's that got to do with anything? What does that matter today? Well, because Delandra had an ATV out by the lake this week, and she decided that she could do a little showboating and stood up on the seat of this ATV. Do y'all know anybody like this? Because sometimes I wish I didn't. I know way too many folks like this. They like unsupervised, self-proclaimed daredevils. There's a place for your feet on them ATVs. Y'all know if you got anything like that where you straddle it, you own the seat, your hands are gripping the handlebars, and your feet got them little resting spots down there. You know what I'm talking about. So you put your feet in there and sometimes you stand up. You know what I'm talking about. That's normal. It's where you're supposed to put your feet. And when you need to, you're able to kind of look ahead, see a little better, farther ahead, whatever. Well, fine. Delandra, you want to stand up while you moving and taking a peek around, go for it. That's what folks do when they crossing water or dry land even. Just want to look around, but you just stand up. But you got the seat right under you. You see that picture in your head, right? You got the seat right under you. Well, that ain't all Delandra did. She didn't just stand up. She decided to stand up on the seat of the ATV. Let me say that again. She decided to stand up on the seat of the ATV. You heard me. She up on the seat like she's a BMX freestyle racer, only she ain't, and she's on an ATV. So she stand up there with one foot on the seat and one on the handlebars like she's surfing. And then she got her hands out. You know how surfers do? They put their hands out to keep their balance. I couldn't believe it. Well, she's on the bank near the water, and to her right sits the bait and tackle where Rance Farnhart works. And that is the topic of today's story that I'm well into now. Well, her foot is on that handle that gives the ATV gas, and her foot ran across that thing, and buddy, that thing just accelerated, took off on her. And Delandra's knees bend, and she's catching her balance, you know, and it's a little bit of an incline heading up to the bait and tackle from the lake. She's now steady making her way up to bait and tackle at a pretty good clip with pretty much no control over this ATV. The best thing she had going for her was that incline. And that's really glass half full, because she ain't got much going for her, no way at this point. The bait and tackle's patio and the back door, they face the lake. The patio actually is on one end of the shop, so you see it from the front of the store or the back of the store. That back door is mostly for employees. It's a couple inches off the ground, no steps or nothing. You just kind of step through that back screen door. If folks are heading to the lake from the bait and tackle shop, they coming off that porch there on the end, and they circling around from the front, but they ain't coming through that little back door. That's employees kind of thing. So Delandra, she picking up speed. She sees the danger finally, but it's too late. She hit that doorway, that back door, busted that door frame, got flipped into the bait and tackle, right into the jerky chip and sunflower display. Left shoe came off too. That ATV shut off on impact. The damage was done. Delandra's groaning, kind of rolling on her back like a box turtle in a hayfield. Rance Farnhart was in the kitchen when it happened. He rushed out of there to see what mess Delandra made right in the middle of that bait and tackle shop. Well, long story longer, Delandra stood up, fell back down. Kind of like she did when she took that moped across Chet's Creek into that field over there. Her back was hurt, and she's all loosey-goosey. Rance called an ambulance, and Delandra's ATV got wheeled over to that repair shed over by Bait and Tackle that Donnie Wayne Chambliss runs. Turns out Delandra didn't break nothing other than the Bait and Tackle shop, and it couldn't come at a worse time, y'all guys. I told you about the fishing tournament coming up. It's at the lake, and the Bait and Tackle shop is the place for all the action. And now Rance has a busted up back entrance thanks to Delandra thinking she was some sort of X Games All-Star on the riverbank. So what do? You pitch in.
Some of us fellas went out there and worked. Myron Curtis, Russell Tucker, Rusty Tidwell, me, Mort Dwidell. We show up to help fix the bait and tackle shop. Myron picked up some lumber. Rusty brought it in his pickup truck. Russell Tucker brought tools. Rance already had some tools out there. And me and Mort, we were there to lend a hand however they needed, kind of apprentice. Like, go get this, go do that kind of thing. Well, work went late into the night this past week. Kind of had to redo the door frame and also cleaning up the inside where DeLondra landed. She did a number on that door. Didn't have a real impact zone in the snack section. Tell you that. Had to get a new screen, too, on that door. So while we working, Myron Curtis say, "Oh, it's a good night. Great night for a swim." That's what Myron said. And Russell's like, "What's that?" And Myron's like, "A night swim. It's a great night for a night swim." And we've been working for a while. It was looking pretty good. And we just kind of still getting some stuff done. But, it was interesting enough a conversation for folks to kind of stop and all kind of listen into this. And Rance said, you swim at night, Myron, in the lake?" And Myron nods, "Oh, yeah, why not?" And Rusty Tidwell popped up. And he's like, "Why don't you prove it?" And Rance said, "I got to see this, Myron. Come on." And Myron's like, now he's kind of backpedaling a little bit. He goes, "Well, we're working right now." I said, "I reckon we can take a break if you're determined to get in that water, Myron." He goes, "No, I ain't determined. I'm just saying." And Russell chimed in, "Yeah, break time." So we all start walking toward the lake, and Myron ain't following. And Rusty hollers, "Come on, big swimmer." And Myron, now he's thinking of things that are going to get him out of this. He goes, "I didn't bring no trunks." And Russell's like, we pretty much done. You can go home after this. Just get in, take a dip, swim around like you like to do, and just head on home. Myron turned and looked at me, tapping. "You like to do the cannonball. Why don't you come in too?" I said, "Nope, I ain't a nighttime cannonballer, buddy. I need an audience. Can't nobody see it. Plus, that's a lake, not a swimming pool. I need to see where I'm landing. That's just kind of how I go with them cannonballs." Now, I have done some lakes, but usually me, Tab, and Dillard, if I'm swimming in a lake, I ain't the first one in. I like 3 or 4 other folks to get in there first to scare them snakes and whatever other critters might be down there away before I start, I ain't breaking the seal on that old lake. Somebody else got to do it. Well, Myron starts to make his way to the lake finally, and he ain't so excited about this idea now. Well, we all get down there, and Myron sit on his bottom and kind of scoot down toward the shore, toward the water. "What are you doing, Myron? Just jump in." "I'm going to ease in." That's what he says. He's going to ease in there. Rusty hollers, "Don't ease in, just jump," kind of thing. "Come on, Myron, let's see this night swim," Russell said, So everybody's kind of getting in on it. And Myron's like, he's scooting along. "Don't rush me," kind of thing. Well, Rance runs towards him and scares him. And Myron kind of just runs on his side and then rolls into the lake. So he's kind of like scooting. And then when Rance ran up on him, Myron scooted so fast, it was a little, as fast as you could run while you scooting on your bottom. And then he falled on his side and then he rolled like a sausage ball through breadcrumbs. And he's under the water. Well, we all standing on the shore like, bink, bink. We see the night part, but we ain't seeing the swimming part. Myron's gone. So we waiting. And then I said, "Rance, you going to go get him?" Seemed like Rance was thinking that maybe we should. When about 20 feet out in the lake, Myron Curtis pops up like a little nighttime dolphin show without the gracefulness or ease of a dolphin. He was choking a little bit, and for a second it sounded like a turkey salmon popping out that water. Russell Tucker called out to him, "How you doing, Myron?" He wiped his eyes out there in the lake and said, "Couldn't be better. Y'all really missing out." So now he's trying to sell it, He's out there trying to do a backstroke, but there ain't nothing real smooth about it. I mean, he's doing it, though. Rusty Tidwell's like, "I'm pretty sure we ain't missing out. It's quite the show from the shore." Myron started swimming toward the lake. "I think I'm good." And he finally, made his way over there. And he got to shore, decided to just crawl up on the bank like a snapping turtle. And so he just dragging his wet body through the riverbank and getting so muddy. He was just going to have a wet ride home. Now it's going to be a wet and a muddy ride home. And as Myron crawled out of the water and into the night, Rance and Russell helped finish up the door. And the bait and tackle, believe it or not, y'all guys, was as good as new. You'd never know Chet Dilroy's sister-in-law DeLondra tore through there on an ATV. It might be a pretty penny once Donnie Wayne Chambliss assesses the damage. DeLondra's got a lot to pay for when it comes in. Not just, the ATV, but what she did to Rance's shop. The lumber they had to buy, all that kind of thing. But what are we ready for now? Because of this.
That's right, y'all guys. A fishing tournament. But first things second, we got the spring picnic this weekend, and Bud is going to be the MC, and there's going to be a turkey salmon calling contest and all kind of food. So now Rance ain't got the bait and tackle hanging over his head. He can enjoy the spring picnic too, along with the rest of us. I'm going there with Cricket. It should be a pretty good day. She 50-50. She might have to work at the nursing home, but they're gonna let him do a field trip there either way. So I'm gonna see her at the spring picnic. I just don't know all the details yet. But y'all guys, I appreciate you joining me today on the Tab and Dillard podcast. Could you do something for me? Again, if you want more details, they're going to be on the website, tabanddillard.com soon, just about the specifics of the shows, the live shows this summer. But if you could share this podcast with somebody and give it a rating, we almost up to 200 ratings on the iTunes. We at like 180 something right now. And if you could just go over and do that this week, that'd be a big help. And I appreciate that. Stay in touch. You can see my number in the show notes. I appreciate y'all joining me here on the Tab and Dillard podcast. Get you some of that bee house honey, Tabin's honey from bees. That link is in the show notes. Please check them out. And if you ain't drove an ATV into the back of the bait and tackle shop this week, you having a pretty good week. Thanks for joining me here on the Tab and Dillard podcast. We'll see you on the interweb, or send me a text message or the emails. And until then, we'll see you later. Bink, bink.